4 years together, unconditional trust, wedding plans, seemingly the perfect love story. But one trip to Miami changed everything. A few missed calls, excuses, strange little details, and suddenly, doubts start creeping in. And then, the sound of a man's voice on the phone. A coincidence? Or the beginning of the end? The deeper the protagonist digs, the more terrifying the truth becomes. Love or betrayal? A random mistake or a carefully hidden double life? And most importantly, how far is he willing to go to uncover the truth and take his revenge? Hello, my friend. I'm so glad you stopped by my channel. If it's your first time here, don't forget to subscribe and like this video, as every like truly inspires me. Please tell me which city and country you watched this video from. Now let's get started. When Emma said yes, it felt as if I had reached the pinnacle of my existence. After 4 incredible years together, I had no hesitation. She was my forever. What we shared felt extraordinary, something unshakable. Every little detail about her made me fall even harder. The way her eyes lit up when she was excited, the instinctive way her fingers intertwined with mine as we walked, or how a single look from her could make me feel invincible. We wasted no time diving into wedding plans. Emma took the reins, and I let her. Seeing her excitement was enough for me. Marrying her was all that mattered. One evening, while we were going over the guest list, she mentioned something that seemed insignificant at the time. "Marilyn and the girls are planning a weekend in Miami for my bachelorette trip," she said with a playful smile. "Miami?" I raised a brow. "Nothing wild," she assured me, brushing her fingers over mine. "Just some sun, cocktails, and a little dancing. Just girl time." I chuckled. "As long as they don't convince you to stay there." She laughed, leaning in to kiss me. "You worry too much. I love you, Aaron. Nothing's going to change that." And I believed her. The morning of her trip, I helped her pack, and we bantered like always. She teased me about sneaking into their getaway, and I just grinned, telling her she had nothing to worry about. I trusted her completely. We drove to the airport, and after one last kiss, I watched her disappear through security. I had no way of knowing that moment would be the last time I looked at her without the weight of doubt pressing against my chest. That first night felt normal. I sent her a quick message before bed, and her response came almost immediately. "Good night, babe. Miss you already." That was all I needed. She was thinking of me and everything was fine. But the next day, something felt off. I called her that afternoon, just a quick check-in. No answer. Maybe she was at the beach, her phone tucked away in her bag. Nothing unusual. Hours passed. I sent a text. "Hey, hope you're having fun. Call me when you get a chance." Silence. Evening arrived. Still nothing. Emma had never been the type to ignore her phone. Even during nights out with friends, she always made time for a quick message or a voice note. Something. But now, nothing. By 10 p.m., unease settled deep in my gut. I called again, straight to voicemail. Was she okay? Had something happened? Or was there another explanation? I tried to push the thoughts away. Maybe she'd had one too many drinks and crashed early, forgetting to plug in her phone. The next morning, my phone finally buzzed. Emma. I grabbed it without hesitation. "Emma?" My voice was tight. She sounded groggy, as though she had just woken up. "Hey, babe. Sorry, I knocked out early last night. We were exhausted from the beach." I exhaled slowly, trying to push down the uneasy feeling still lingering. We chatted for a few minutes, just small talk. It felt normal, almost enough to make me forget the silence from the night before. Then, just as we were about to hang up, I heard it. A man's voice. Quick, muffled, but unmistakable. And then the call cut off. I froze. My stomach churned. I called her back instantly. It rang a few times before she answered. "Hey," she said, suddenly more awake. "Who was that?" My words came out sharper than I intended. "What?" she asked, feigning confusion. "I heard a guy's voice before the call ended," I said, my pulse hammering. "Who's with you?" There was a pause, just long enough for my chest to tighten before she finally responded. "Oh," she said quickly. "That was just hotel staff. They were dropping off breakfast." I frowned. "Hotel staff?" "Yeah. They come around in the mornings offering room service and stuff. You know how it is." Something about her tone felt off. She was speaking too fast, as if forcing the words out before I could question them. "You sure?" I asked, my throat dry. She let out an irritated sigh, and when she spoke again, there was an edge to her voice. "Aaron, relax. I'm in my room with my friends. You're being paranoid." I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her. So I swallowed the doubt clawing at me and forced myself to let it go. "All right," I muttered. "Enjoy yourself." Her voice felt distant, almost hollow, and the quick, unconvincing "love you" before the line disconnected didn't sound like her at all. I sat there, phone still in hand, staring at the darkened screen long after the call had ended. Something was wrong. I could feel it, but I wasn't ready to face it just yet. Emma flew back from Miami the next evening. On the drive to the airport, a mix of emotions churned in me: excitement, relief, but also an inexplicable sense of dread. I had missed her, and yet, the moment I saw her walking toward me, that unease settled deeper. She looked just as she always had, sun-kissed, glowing, effortlessly beautiful. But when she stepped into my arms, something felt different. Her hug lacked its usual warmth, the kind of embrace that made me feel like she had missed me too. It was brief, almost as if she was just going through the motions. And when our lips met, the kiss barely lingered. "Hey," I murmured, studying her face. "How was the trip?" She offered a smile, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. "It was great. Exactly what I needed." "Yeah?" I forced a grin, trying to suppress the nagging doubt. "Anything exciting happen?" She gave a small, airy laugh, tucking a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "You know, the usual. Drinks, dancing, a little too much sun. Nothing crazy." I nodded, though a tightness settled in my chest. I wanted to believe her. Maybe I was just overanalyzing. Maybe that odd phone call had put ideas in my head. I told myself I was being ridiculous, let the thought go, and tried to enjoy the ride home. But she was different. Normally, after a trip, she'd talk nonstop, telling me every little detail. This time, she mostly stared out the window, scrolling through her phone in silence. Once home, she barely bothered to unpack before collapsing onto the couch, phone in hand, fingers moving rapidly across the screen. A faint smile played on her lips as she typed. "Marilyn?" I asked casually. Her head lifted briefly, eyes unfocused as if I had pulled her out of a different world. "You texting Marilyn?" She hesitated for half a second, then blinked. "Oh. Yeah, just catching up." Catching up? She had just spent the entire weekend with her. The explanation felt off, but I let it go. Still, the unease grew. It wasn't an overnight change. It was slow, creeping in like a hairline crack in glass, small at first, then widening before you even realized the damage was done. She was always on her phone now, not just scrolling, but engaged, laughing softly, fingers flying, her expression shifting in subtle ways. And if I entered the room, she would tilt her screen just slightly, just enough. Then, she started going out more. Girls' nights became more frequent, once a week, then twice, then 3 times. "Where are you off to tonight?" I asked one evening, as she leaned into the mirror, carefully applying her lipstick. "Out with the girls," she answered, pressing her lips together, perfecting the shade. "Again?" She met my eyes through the mirror, her brow lifting. "What's that supposed to mean?" I exhaled slowly, keeping my voice steady. "It just feels like we haven't really spent time together lately." She rolled her eyes, turning to face me. "Oh, come on, Aaron. I see you every day. That's not the same, and you know it." She folded her arms. "So what? You want me to stay home all the time?" That's not what I'm saying. I chose my words carefully. I'm saying that ever since Miami, things have felt different. She let out a dry, humorless laugh, shaking her head. Not this again. I studied her face, searching for something, anything, that would tell me I was wrong, that I was imagining things. Are we seriously going to argue every time I go out now? She snapped, grabbing her purse. I ran a hand through my hair, sighing. Forget it. Good. She slung the bag over her shoulder and walked out the door. I sat in silence for a long time, staring at the empty space she had left behind. Something wasn't right, and I wasn't going to ignore it anymore. That night, when Emma came home, I was still awake, waiting. She tossed her keys onto the table, moving through the house as if nothing was wrong. But then I caught it, the scent, not her perfume, cologne, a man's. Where were you? My voice was steadier than I felt. She didn't even pause. I told you, out with the girls. I stood up, stepping into her path. Then why do you smell like someone else? For a split second, something flickered in her expression. Guilt, maybe, or panic. But just as quickly, it was gone, masked by irritation. Oh, for God's sake, Aaron. Some guy must have brushed past me at the bar. Are we really doing this? I wanted to believe her, but I couldn't. The next morning, Emma was in the shower when her phone vibrated on the nightstand. I wasn't looking for it, but my gaze instinctively flicked to the screen. A message. From Luke. My stomach twisted. My mind raced. Who the hell is Luke? Before I could think, my hand moved, hovering over the device. But just as my fingers brushed against it, the water stopped. The shower door creaked open. I quickly pulled my hand away, retreating just as Emma stepped into the room, wrapped in a towel, steam curling around her. I forced my expression into something neutral. Her eyes darted to the phone, then back to me. What are you doing? I shrugged, feigning indifference. Nothing. Just grabbing my wallet. She didn't hesitate, but the moment her fingers brushed against her phone, she swiftly swiped across the screen. I caught the slight twitch in her lips, the way they pressed together as if holding back something unspoken. There was a secret there, something she was desperate to keep hidden. I just didn't know how deep it ran. That night, after Emma drifted off to sleep, I decided it was time to find out. Sitting up in bed, my heartbeat thundered in my ears as I fixated on the phone resting on her nightstand. I didn't know the passcode, but there was another way in. Moving cautiously, I lifted her hand, my breath barely escaping as I pressed her fingertip to the sensor. A soft click, and the screen lit up. A shaky breath escaped me. My hands were unsteady, but I forced control. Waking her wasn't an option. Not yet. With her phone in my grip, I slid out of bed, my steps silent against the hard wood as I made my way to the living room. Settling onto the couch, the glow of the screen cast long shadows over my hands. At first, everything seemed ordinary. Chats with friends, work-related exchanges, nothing out of place. But then, I saw it. His name. Luke. A lead weight formed in my stomach as I hovered over the message thread, an invisible force tightening around my chest. I tapped into the conversation, and my world crumbled. It started harmlessly, teasing messages, inside jokes, compliments that lingered a little too long. But as I scrolled, the truth bled through. Pictures, videos, Emma, in bed, with him. My fingers clenched around the phone, my breath coming in shallow bursts. Even as the edges of my vision blurred, I kept going, unable to stop myself. Then I found more. A video. Not just Luke. Another man was there too. My throat constricted, my mouth dry as if filled with dust. This wasn't a careless lapse in judgment. This was orchestrated. It traced back to Miami, the weekend she had claimed exhaustion, dismissing my calls without a second thought. That was the weekend I had convinced myself I was being paranoid, that my gut was wrong. But it hadn't stopped there. Luke had come here, to our city, slipping into her nights under the guise of innocent outings. While I had been at home, trusting her, she had been with him. My jaw locked, a sharp ache blooming as I clenched my teeth. My grip on the phone tightened, fingers pressing against the screen as if I could crush the betrayal out of existence. And then, without a second thought, I did the only thing that made sense. I sent every image and video to my phone. Once the transfer was complete, I erased the conversation from hers. She wouldn't know I had seen it. Not yet. Because I wasn't going to confront her, I was going to destroy her. And by morning, my plan was in motion. Emma moved through the day as if nothing had changed, blissfully unaware that I knew everything. When I casually mentioned inviting her parents over for dinner, she didn't even pause. "Yeah, sure," she murmured, her eyes barely lifting from her phone. She had no idea what was coming. That evening, as we gathered around the dining table, I played my role effortlessly. I made small talk, let the conversations flow naturally, waited for the perfect moment. Then, with calculated precision, I picked up my phone, connected it to the TV, and pressed play. The screen flickered to life. One by one, the images and videos unfolded. Emma, wrapped in sheets with Luke. Emma, entangled in dimly lit rooms, pressed between two men. The atmosphere shifted instantly. A suffocating silence filled the room. Then, a sharp intake of breath. Her mother gasped, the sound shattering the quiet. Her father's face darkened, fury overtaking his features. Emma froze. What is this?" she stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. I met her eyes, my voice as cold as ice. "You tell me." Her father pushed back his chair, his knuckles white against the table's edge. "Emma, what the hell am I looking at?" Tears welled in her eyes. "Aaron, please." "No." My tone was final, unyielding. "You don't get to beg. You did this." Her father's voice was thick with disgust. "I raised you better than this." Her mother sat in stunned silence, shaking her head, her expression twisted with disappointment. Emma turned to me, desperation leaking into her gaze. "Aaron, I made a mistake." A bitter laugh escaped me. "A mistake?" I gestured toward the screen where the evidence of her betrayal still played. "That's not a mistake. That's who you are." Her breath hitched. She knew. There was no coming back from this. I rose to my feet, my voice calm, unwavering. "Pack your things. The wedding is off, and I want you out tonight." Her father exhaled sharply, his expression like chiseled stone. "You heard him. Get up. Start packing." Emma's lips parted, as if she wanted to argue, to justify, to beg for a second chance. But nothing came. There were no words left. She had burned everything to the ground, and now she had to sift through the ruins. That night, she packed in silence. No more lies, no more excuses, only the quiet acknowledgement of what she had destroyed. And when she walked out that door, I didn't stop her. And just like that, she was gone. Months passed. Life pressed forward, and I moved with it. At first, the weight of 4 years of memories threatened to drown me, the emptiness she left behind clawing at my edges. But as the days turned into weeks, the silence grew easier. The wounds hurt a little less, and piece by piece, I reclaimed what she had abandoned. In time, the pain dulled, replaced by something I hadn't anticipated: clarity. Then, one night, a sudden knock broke the stillness of my apartment. I wasn't expecting company. When I opened the door, my breath hitched for just a moment. Emma. She wasn't the same. There was an exhaustion in her posture, a heaviness in her gaze. Her eyes, puffy, red-rimmed, held back tears that hadn't yet fallen. "Aaron," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Please, let me fix this." Regret clung to her words. I was reckless. I made a terrible mistake. I said nothing. She swallowed hard, her eyes searching mine, pleading. "I tried to move on," she confessed, voice faltering. "I dated, but it never worked. No one ever felt right. A breath in, a shuddering sigh out. "It's always been you," she murmured. And now, I finally understand that. I just looked at her. The woman I had once loved more than anything stood before me, a stranger wrapped in sorrow and longing. But it didn't matter. Not anymore. No resentment. No grief. Just emptiness. That was the moment I knew. My voice was calm when I spoke. "Go. Don't come back." Her lips parted as if to protest, to plead. But then she saw it, the certainty in my expression. It was done. Without another word, I shut the door. On her. On everything we had been. And for the first time in longer than I could remember, I felt free. This story has come to an end. Love should be built on honesty, respect, and mutual devotion. But when lies and secrets emerge, a relationship turns into a game with a predetermined outcome. It's important to trust your intuition and not ignore the warning signs. Sometimes it's better to let go than to hold on to something that has long lost its meaning. And most importantly, remember, betrayal does not define your worth. It reveals the weakness of the one who betrayed you. Take care of yourself and choose those who choose you. What's your opinion? Share it in the comments, my friend. And if you liked this story, check out other exciting videos on my channel. I'll say goodbye until the next video. See you.